everyone. This is Donna Lansman, Creative Arts teacher at Keswick Multicare Center. I'm in the actual Creative Arts studio today, not in my home studio, and I'm going to do another clay demo for you. The last time I was working on the potter's wheel, and today I'm going to show you how to hand build. That's using clay where all you need is a table, basically, and your hands. So there are three techniques for hand building. There is the coil, where you make ropes of clay and you build from there. There is a pinch pot, where you take a ball of clay, you stick it in your palm of your hand, and you pinch around, and you make a pot. And today I'm going to show you how to do the third technique, which is the slab, which is rolling out a flat pancake of clay using a rolling pin. And I'll be right back with you, and we'll get on with that. Okay, so here we are at the table. I've got a lump of clay and I've got some sticks. The important thing about the sticks is that they're all the same thickness, and I'll show you why. That's important when you're rolling out your clay, so you have even thickness. You're going to need a thin bladed knife. Okay, so you can use any knife as long as it's got a thin blade. X-Acto blades work, anything like that. If you remember the rib, the shaper, this is going to be to help smooth our clay out if you want that. Some texture tools. So I've got here a doily that we're going to roll in the clay to make texture. You could use a stamp if you have a rubber stamp. That would probably work. If you've got like a fruit bag, you know, the mesh, you can use anything for texture. You want to use things that are porous, that you can pull off easily. If you can't, then you can use a little bit of baby powder or cornstarch on your clay, and that will help release your texture. But you don't want to use a lot, just like a dusting. And I'm going to be using this big, thick utility sponge. If you have a piece of foam rubber, that's great too. That all works. And then lastly, I'm going to need a form that I'm going to be using for this particular thing. We're going to be kind of making a dish. And this is just a box of cardboard, rectangular box of toothpicks. And that's going to be the base of my dish. And I will show you how we're going to do that. So first, and of course you need a rolling pin. So the first thing I'm going to do is I am going to set up the thickness that I want my clay to roll out. Unless you're used to rolling out lots of pie crust and you're really good at it, making it nice and even, you want to have your clay with your rolling pin on top, and you want to have sticks on either side of your clay, so that when you're rolling, your rolling pin is going to be on top of one stick or the other, or both. But you want to make sure that your clay is between the sticks and that your rolling pin is on the sticks, so that when you're rolling out the clay, it's nice and even. Usually if you don't have the sticks, you're going to get this kind of unevenness, especially at the ends. People tend to have a thick middle and then go to the edge that way. So right now I am using sticks that are about this thickness, and they're all the same thickness. That's very important. If you wanted it thicker, then you could just stack them. You could put a double thickness, okay? But I'm just going to do a single thickness on this. And I'm going to roll out my clay. Let's see how this goes. So when you are rolling out your clay, and you don't have to use the handles on your rolling pin, you can just roll this way. In fact, that gives you a little bit extra oomph. But what I'm going to do is, every once in a while, I'm going to turn my clay over and then roll it again. So what happens when you're rolling out a slab of clay is you're only rolling out the top part of the clay, the top surface. So you need to stretch it all. So I'm like kind of flipping it and turning it. So I'm stretching it in every which way. Okay, can you see how that's getting bigger and flatter? And I'll know when it's all rolled out is because it won't move anymore. It won't stretch anymore. Almost there. And you'll see I have to put my rolling pin over one stick or the other because my clay's getting too big. for me to have it on both. I think I'm just going to do one more turn. And I'm just about there. Running out of space. Okay. Okay. So can you see right here how nice and even it is? I hope I'm not lying to you. That should be nice and even. Okay. So sometimes when you're rolling out the clay, this is canvas. So you always want to have something that is non-porous on your surface of your table, because if you're rolling your clay right onto a table, it'll stick. So I just have a piece of canvas under here that I'm rolling my clay out on, and so it's easy to lift. Okay. And now I'm going to take this rib, and I'm just gently going to, because sometimes the canvas will leave a texture I might not want on my clay, because I'm going to put a different texture on. So just to show you real quick, not a big deal. I'm just kind of scraping it along the surface. Okay. And now I want to show you what you can do, and you guys have no idea what we're doing, but it will be magic. I'm now going to take my doily, a bit of clay off there, and I'm just going to lay my doily out. And I'm going to stretch it out so it doesn't have any wrinkles on it. Move that stick out of the way. And then I'm going to take my rolling pin and I'm going to roll the doily into the clay so it's embedded. And I will lift this up so you can see it after I get it in there. So I'm not pressing real hard, but I'm pressing hard enough that that doily is really getting in there. But it doesn't take much because that doily's not very thick. This isn't a paper doily, this is one somebody made. You know, cotton. And cotton will not stick. So I'm going to lift this up so you guys can see. Can you see how it's really in there? Okay, looks cool already. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull it right off. Let me see if you can see it now. Can you see how it left the impression of the doily? So that's going to be the texture on my piece. Now this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to take my toothpick box and I'm going to center it right in the middle. Okay, all right. Then I'm going to take a little bit of a wider stick. You could take the same stick or a little bit wider, depends on what you want. This is going to be the base of our pot, and then we're going to have an edge that comes around it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the stick and I'm going to put it, so I'm going to be putting it right up against the box all the way around, and that's going to be the border. So here I go. I've got my box down here. This is just a paint stick. You know, you can go to the paint store, the hardware store, and get those, they're free, those large paint sticks. They are great for this. So I'm just putting this stick right up against the box so it's nice and secure there, and then I'm going to take my knife, and on the outside of that stick I'm going to cut away that clay and move it away. And then I am going to move the stick to the short side, and then I'm going to cut away from the outside of that stick. So I'm doing this all the way around, all four sides, and then around the back. And if you're using a nice sturdy stick, you can put that knife right up against it so you get a really good edge. And there we go again. So that's our fourth side. Okay, so now I have this rectangle with all this texture on it. So here comes the fun part, the magic part. I'm going to take this sponge, I'm going to lift this up, and I'm going to now lay my clay right on top of the sponge, and I'm going to put my box back on, I want to make sure I'm really in the middle here, so I'm going to take my stick back and lay it right. Oh, I did pretty good there. Make sure that that box and that stick, so you want the stick to be right at the edge and you want the box right up against the stick. I did a really good job, if I do say so myself. It's right up there. Okay, so it's perfectly centered. Okay, and now here's the fun part. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my hands on top of the box and I'm going to press down. And then pull that away. And we've got this dish, this lovely dish, which can be, you know, for soap, keys, whatever you want, candy. And that's all there is to it.